We're here to say that a poem like Young Woman at a Window version 2 is so open that we must do, as Anna Strong would say, must do the work, right? And the work is good. We must try to understand what that woman is going through and why we are looking in a window at her, which is apparently the POV of the poem, of the speaker. That implicates us with the subjectivity, the POV, the point of view. And to be implicated in that puts us in the Williams position, which should make a lot of us uncomfortable. So we're looking at a woman who's crying, we're looking at her child, and we have to do the work of trying to understand what social and ethical ills are being shown to us, but not told. We're not being told ethically or politically, ideologically what to do about it. We're being given a scene. And that is the dream of imagism, which is to give us a scene and have us do work. Okay, so
it's not what you get out of the work, it's the work itself.
It's not what you get out of it, it's the work itself. That is the way, to use the Ray Armantrout phrase. So that there is no doubt in my mind what Claude McKay feels and wants us to feel about the intolerable situation. Just to be skeptical about the approach of describing an intolerable, horrible political situation doesn't mean I have any less feeling about racist hatred. On the contrary, right? And I accept that poem as a bomb, as a little bomb that's thrown, a radical, revolutionary bomb. It's arguing counter violence. It's arguing for striking back against rioters and the police. Okay? I respect the radicalism of the poem. But his choice of sonnet makes it really clear to me that what he's trying to do is put the bomb inside the Trojan horse and roll that horse into the literary tradition of the sonnet, which is a tradition of high diction and elevated poetry, and frankly of British sense, the British sense of the green-sceptered isle, which you shouldn't fuck with. And so basically he's taking full advantage of the history and tradition of a traditional form. But he's also telling us what to think. So we accept that, and week 5 is about how to deal with that kind of thing. So anyway, yeah.
That being said, that's a complex example because of the radical act of inhabiting and reappropriating a form.
As is the poem by Ruth Lechleitner, who is reappropriating the churchly ballad. So instead of giving you easy target poems this week, descriptive narrative poems this week that are easy targets, where we can say, it's just trying to tell us how to feel, it's dictatorial, right? We didn't do that. We gave you really hard poems that actually make our contention very difficult to make. Mapo is not easy. This week it's easier because the poems seem more accessible, but that doesn't make any of these questions easier. We're just as flummoxed by the whole thing as anybody else. Lily has someone on the phone, but I think she also wants to say something.
Well, just quickly to throw in another sort of contention is to remember "Tell all the truth, but tell it slant" from Emily Dickinson. And I think, like, especially thinking of our communist poets this week, maybe they're maybe questioning that assertion by Emily Dickinson, like not literally like taking Emily Dickinson to task, but the idea that success in circuit lies. Maybe they're worried that that circuit is not the right approach for some of the more radical content that they have.
So well put. And that's Lily just did a wonderful summary of the various introductions and descriptions that lead you into week 5 that I myself wrote, a year or two ago, where we say, look, here are legitimate concerns about modernism's opacity, indirectness is what you were specifically talking about. Legitimate moral, historical, ethical, political concerns about too much circuit. Emily Dickinson, who's not in any traditional sense a political poet, is nonetheless traditional by saying, look how much more can be done if we work together to explore possibility. The fairest will join her. The downside of that is, if you don't feel you're the fairest and you can't get into that house, are you left outside in the street? Genevieve Taggart is inside. She's mocking people, middle-class people who are inside. She wants them to go out. In a way, you could almost say that Genevieve Taggart is kind of undoing the Dickinsonian interior and trying to get us out to scream, to do blabs of pave outside, along with the picketers and the communists and the people protesting foreclosure, which is a 1930s situation where people were actually driven out of their Dickinsonian house into the street. So how much good does circuit do you when you have no home at all? And I think that's what people in the 30s who became radical wanted the poetry to do. It's a totally, totally, totally compelling and legitimate counter-argument